Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tesla News Friday Roundup. If you can hear me, go ahead and put in the comments that you can hear me, and we're going to dive into today's content in just a minute. But yeah, once again, if you can hear audio, if it's coming through, if you can go ahead and put that in the comments that you're seeing audio, everything's coming through okay. Looks like we're starting to get a few people on. Several exciting things have happened in the world of Tesla, and so this is a new segment I'm going to start trying to do. Most Fridays, I'm going to want to come on and just do a news roundup, things that have happened in Tesla. What's great about this live format is it allows me to hit news topics that just happened, maybe within hours or within minutes of going live. And so we're going to go through the news that's happened really over the last 2 to 3 days, and then we're going to dive into just a time when we can talk together. I want to hear from you guys, and we'll go to the comments section and see what you guys have to say. So looks like we got a few people. Says all good. Seyhan says all good, loud and clear. Stickers added. Okay, perfect. So we got some people on, and it looks like we're good here. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to the software, and we're going to go over the news. Like I said, it'll probably be roughly maybe 10 minutes going through the news. And then when I come back and just answer questions from you guys and see if you guys have other topics that you'd like to discuss as well. So once again, thank you so much for coming on and joining this live stream. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of these in the future, and I'm thankful that you guys have joined. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Eric Perez. I appreciate the kind words there. That's very kind of you. We got to move over to the presentation. So the first story that I want to cover is, of course, one of the bigger stories that have happened, and everyone's been anticipating the PLAID Plus Model S. Of course, I know you can order the PLAID Model S, and you can get that in somewhere between 4 and 11 weeks right now. But the PLAID Plus Model S has been delayed, and Tesla increased the price by around right at $10,000. So before, the PLAID Plus Model S was right around $139,900, and that price has increased $10,000 more to $149,990. So quite an increase, and I imagine some of that has to do with battery costs, and we'll talk about that more in a second. And of course, more importantly than the price, I think the price is important. Of course, $10,000 price increase is not a small increase, but this is a very expensive vehicle to begin with. But more important than that, it was delayed. So before, Tesla estimated that the PLAID Plus Model S would be delivered sometime in late 2021, but that has now moved, as you can see here, to mid 2022. So that's quite a delay. That's a 6-month rough delay or more for the release of the PLAID Plus Model S. Now, the question is, why would it be delayed by this much? That's a huge delay, 6, 7, 8 months or whatever it's been delayed, based on what they thought it would be before. And at first I thought, well, maybe it has to do with the tri-motor powertrain, but it's not, because they're going to release the plain Plaid with the tri-motor powertrain still in 4 to 11 weeks. So that hasn't changed. But we do surmise, based on what Elon Musk has said on Twitter and based on the range of the PLAID Plus Model S, that it's going to have the Tesla's new 4680 battery cells. So I'm guessing that this delay has something to do with Tesla's batteries. So I believe it has to do with Tesla's 4680 batteries. Of course, Tesla also increased the price, as you've seen in the news, of the Model 3. And, if you've been following along with Tesla's price changes on their vehicles, it's really hard to keep up with it all. They seem to change every other month. Prices go up, prices go down. Recently, the Tesla Model 3 the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus dropped down, but then it's gone back up $500. And the long range model, which recently dropped down like $1,000, went back up $500. So not huge, not a big deal, but it's worth noting. It is important in the Tesla world. And of course, the Model Y, the long range all-wheel drive variant, went back up to a price that we've seen before. It went back up to $49,990. Another really important news story, and this is actually, it's not as critical for Tesla as it used to be because they are a profitable company, but Tesla does get ZEV credits in the United States, and in Europe they get green credits from the European government. And specifically, the European government allows auto manufacturers to pool together for those that are not meeting the standards for CO2 regulations. And Fiat Chrysler once again has committed into a pool with Tesla to use their green credits, and they have committed this to Tesla. And according to this news article that I found from CNBC, they expect to spend slightly less than around 300 million euros in 2021. And they said last year that a good hefty portion of the money they spent on green credits went to Tesla. So just know that 2021, Tesla should count on a good amount of green credits from the Fiat Chrysler group. And this is actually going to help Tesla's bottom line a lot. Tesla uses this, and I know they don't need this to be profitable anymore, and they don't need this necessarily to go get by, but it is a huge bonus and a good cash infusion that can help with future production plans as well. Another story that you've probably seen is there was a fire that broke out at the Tesla Fremont factory. And thankfully, as was reported by the Fremont Fire Department, there were no injuries, and it didn't seem like it was a big deal. It was contained pretty quickly. They said the fire was located in an area that was currently in construction, and it was located in one of the stamping machines. So it wasn't something like batteries or something like that, which of course the news media would have gone crazy with, but it actually had to do with a stamping machine. And the Fremont Police Department said that the cause of it was actually hydraulic fluid and something to do with molten aluminum. So it was aluminum and hydraulic fluid. Somehow the hydraulic fluid caught fire, and that's what was happening there. But they got it under control quickly. It didn't seem to do a lot of damage other than just that localized, I'm sure, that stamping machine was damaged, of course. And then another really big news story that just happened, and we just saw this. Teslarati reports that Tesla's insurance program is launching into several new states, including Texas, Illinois, and Washington. Of course, eventually it will be nationwide, and they're also looking to go to other countries as well. If you're in other countries of the world and you're paying a lot for insurance on your Tesla, that of course eventually you should have insurance options directly from Tesla worldwide eventually. But the most recent changes that we should see is Tesla insurance available in Texas, Illinois, and Washington. And what's great about it is it looks like in both Texas and Illinois, the regulators have already approved the rates and policies for Tesla insurance. So this should be coming quite soon, Tesla insurance to those states. And then also in Washington State has also approved the initial form. So Washington State insurance there from Tesla is a little slower and a little less. It's going to happen a little later than Texas and Illinois, but it looks like Washington is on the pike as well in the somewhat near future. Another important news story that I thought was good to cover was the fact that we all know that we've seen pictures of the Tesla Model 3 in certain agencies, police agencies in the United States, and in other countries too, have been buying Tesla vehicles and using them as police cruisers and police vehicles. But specifically now, the Model 3 is actually being somewhat marketed and promoted by Tesla as a great emergency response vehicle. And this Drive Tesla Canada article references a LinkedIn post. This LinkedIn post was put out by the B2B, senior B2B Tesla advisor. So this is somebody in London who works for Tesla, and they are promoting Tesla's products to businesses, which I didn't know this position existed. It's actually a great position. And he put out a short video just talking about that The Tesla Model 3 would make a great emergency response vehicle, especially with a new UK and European regulations for emissions. And so I thought that was great because this could be a huge increase in Tesla sales as they sell to different fleets, both in the United States, in the Europe and UK, etc. And so that's, I think, good news if you are a fan of Tesla or if you're a Tesla shareholder. And then lastly, that's all the news for today. Lastly, I just want to just take a moment and we want to look at the stock price today. There wasn't a huge amount of change, less than 1% of the stock price change throughout the day. It ended at the end of closed at the end of trading today at 693.73. I don't think there was really any big significant news to report that made this change or anything like that. I think it's just the general market in that right now. So that's all the news right now. I'm going to go over and we're going to get your questions. So I'm switching back over so I can see the chat and appreciate everyone that's been on. And so it looks like it should be switching over in just a minute to me. If you're still seeing the stock there, it should be switching over now. So let's see here. Not a stamping machine, a casting machine. Okay, so maybe it's been reported. I was just going off of the Fremont Police Department LinkedIn thing officially from them. They said it was a stamping machine. So I guess maybe they thought it was a stamping machine and it's a casting machine. Either way, it was one that was under construction and it was localized and Tesla was able to keep that under control. Obviously, there probably was some loss and there's some expense there, but Tesla has a huge balance sheet of cash. And, I don't think this is going to affect them too much. I don't think it's a super big deal. Eric Perez, if Tesla stopped production for a year, they would still be outpacing every other EV company, including NIO. I think that is pretty good to point out. There was actually, I don't know if you saw this, but there was like a CNBC news section where CNBC reported that Tesla only had in North America a 2% EV market share. And of course, that's crazy. They have a 78 to 80% EV market share in North America. But yeah, compared to other auto manufacturers, Tesla is a clear leader, definitely in North America for sure, but clear leader when it comes to EV manufacturing. They could stop production and probably still outpace a lot of people. So very key there. Stickers add up, 20 horsepower. Said surprised it didn't drop more due to the fire with the press. Yeah, I think that that traders and the general market is getting used to little small things like this that happen. It could have happened in any manufacturing. It had nothing to do with this fire. Had nothing to do with Tesla's batteries or anything like that. It just happened to be kind of a freak accident with the hydraulic fluid. So I don't think the market sees that as a big negative and any real big deal. So show and tell, give this man a thumbs up. Thank you for that. See, Eric Perez, Tesla bears are really just utterly terrified because they now realize they're literally 10 years behind. Legacy automotive companies are in full panic mode. Yeah, I do think legacy automakers are in full panic mode. And you can kind of see this from Ford. You see Ford on Twitter and some of the executives on Twitter attacking Tesla and saying that they could learn from Ford how to build electric vehicles. And I think they're just scared and they're trying to throw as much shade toward Tesla as they can because they know how far they are behind. Of course, I've done a number of videos looking at Tesla's technology, looking at their software, and of course, their vertical integration, their 4680 batteries, all their technology. They're so far ahead. And, it's hard I try in this channel to not be super biased towards Tesla because I want other EVs makers to succeed. And I'm trying to add more videos about companies like Rivian and other good auto manufacturers that are going to be making EVs soon. But it's hard because when you have something that is the ultimate best, and of course Tesla has its issues. I understand there are some slight customer service issues here and there, and maybe build quality here and there fluctuates. But in general, Tesla is just an amazing auto manufacturer. They make amazing EVs, and really no one's even close. But it's hard not to be biased sometimes, and at least sound biased when you're talking about somebody like Tesla that's just the tops in the industry. So I don't know if you think I'm biased towards that too much, but I try not to be. How long before Tesla is back to $900 per share? Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had the ability to predict the future. I'd probably be a billionaire like Elon if I could do that. I have no clue. But I will say, like I said in the past, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial professional. So anything that I mention about stock and stock price is just my own opinion. It's not financial advice. But when it comes to the share price of Tesla, I can't really comment on that necessarily, but I do believe, as I've mentioned in previous videos, as I mentioned in the last live stream, I do believe, personal opinion, not financial advice once again, but personal opinion, that Tesla, in the not too distant future, you can definitely rationalize a $1 trillion market cap for Tesla when you start putting in Tesla's software revenue. When they start selling the software subscriptions for things like full self-driving and other things like that. I think when you start factoring that in, and then as Tesla Energy ramps up, I don't think Tesla Energy will be too crazy in 2021, but I think as we move to 2022 and 2023, as I talked about in a recent video, I think Tesla Energy is going to start increasing quite a bit as we see the ramp up of the solar roof, and we see more batteries available for their storage business because of the 4680 batteries. I think we'll start seeing a huge increase in Tesla's revenue, and you'll see a high profit margin revenue source with software, and I think that'll make a lot more sense in the market. Could push Tesla's value up to $1 trillion. So I can't really comment when that's going to happen. Of course, I can't predict the future, but I think you can make a good case for Tesla's valuation to be somewhere around 1 trillion in the not too distant future. Let's see here. What is your favorite Tesla model, and do you own one? So my favorite Tesla model that's currently out is the Tesla Model Y. I don't actually currently own a Tesla, not something I can afford right now, and I don't drive as much as I used to right now because of COVID. I do hope in the future to own a Tesla Model Y, but it's not something that I do currently own. So love the car. I've driven the Model X in the past. I've been in the Model X. I'm sorry, I've been in the Model S. I've been in the Model 3. Have not actually been in a Model Y yet. I've been around them. I've seen them at a distance, but I haven't been in one yet. But everything that I can see about the car, I love the car. It's the kind of car I need. I need a hatchback. I kind of use my car a lot like the Europeans do, how a hatchback, smaller kind of hatchback vehicle in the case of the Model Y and SUV, and you can put a lot of stuff in there. Everything folds flat. You can put a lot of stuff in there, and that's the kind of vehicle I look to get in the future. Will Tesla put Starlink on its cars to increase software revenue for media, online gaming, and maybe even Tesla Dojo machine learning and uploading mass amounts of video at high speeds? Craig asked that. You know, I initially said that Starlink was going to be available for vehicles, but then Elon went on Twitter. Somebody reminded me of this on the last stream. Elon went on Twitter to say that the actual receiver antenna is going to be too big to put on just a normal vehicle, so you wouldn't be able to get it on your normal Tesla vehicle. But it would be great for like camper vans, RVs, boats, maybe even airplanes, I'm not sure, but things like that. Large transportation vehicles, it would be great for. So at this time, I don't think we're going to see it on cars anytime soon, but they could maybe shrink it down to where the receiver could be available for cars. That would be cool. I think that. Gary Itano asked, are CATL, Panasonic, LG, etc. partners basically copy and pasting the Roadrunner line to rapid ramp 4680 production, or using their own designs and chemistries? So we obviously don't know for sure on that, and I appreciate that question, Gary. My opinion, based on news reports and things that I've been reading, my opinion is that they're going to be using the form factor. They're going to be using, it has to be a tabless design, because if you're using the 4680 form factor, it has to be tabless for heat dissipation. So we know that it has to be, the size is probably going to be 4680 because that makes sense. The tabless design is 100% for sure. I don't necessarily see Tesla, though, licensing out the Maxwell technology, the dry battery electrode technology. I see them, personally, I see that their manufacturing prowess on that. I see them keeping that in-house. And I see that other partners like LG, Panasonic, etc., making the battery that's going to be a tabless 4680 battery cell with maybe a superior chemistry to to what's being used now, or at least maybe similar to what's being used now in the 2170 batteries. But I don't think they're going to be using the dry processes that Tesla has. I think they're going to be using wet processes. Personal opinion, could be wrong. Warmonger 2500, I see Tesla software making more money than cars, but it could take 5 years before the FSD is where they want it to be. Yeah, it could take 5 years. And like I said, I think Tesla at the end of this year, I feel very strongly that by the end of this year, they will have a product that has all the features of a level 5 system, but I don't think it's going to be ready for level 5 at the end of this year, obviously. I think it's going to take some time and some perfecting before not only is it completely safe enough where it doesn't need any interventions for level 5, but where regulators are pleased with how progress is going. And so I think that's going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to take some time. I don't know if it'll take till 2025, but who knows? This is a very complicated problem. And I do agree that eventually that we could see software revenue far outpace auto revenue, and definitely I will probably see profit on that end surpass the auto margin and auto profit very shortly. So as they ramp that up, so I think that is important as we see that. Let's see here. Eric Perez, the deflationary aspect of technology will make owning vehicles obsolete when FSD brings the cost of transportation to less than a monthly phone bill. Yeah, I think that is pretty key there. At some point, it's going to be very inexpensive to just get a car, to hail an autonomous car, an autonomous Tesla, and drive you where you want to go when you want to go there. And at some point, it's going to be silly, as Elon Musk talks about, to pay all this money for an asset that maybe 95% of the time sits in a parking lot, sits in your garage, or sits in your driveway. There's no other asset that I know that we pay so much money for as humans and then not use. I mean, can you imagine if you bought a $1,000 phone and you only used it 2 or 3% of the day, 5% of the day, and the rest of the day it wasn't being used? No, we use our smartphones a lot. We use them for a lot of things, and yes, they're expensive, but we use them a lot. And cars are the same way. They're expensive, way more expensive than a smartphone, obviously, but we barely use them compared to what they could be used. And that's one of the things about a robotaxi network. It allows you to get the max amount of revenue from your vehicle and the max amount of usability. And from the consumer end that doesn't want to purchase an expensive car and pay for insurance and maintenance, etc., they're able to hail a robotaxi, a Tesla, or other autonomous vehicle, and it's going to be less expensive by far than owning a vehicle. Yes, people will still own vehicles, but not as common. I think that's really key. And so I think I'm staying on just for another minute or two. It looks like we're kind of slowing down on the questions, but I do appreciate everyone that's been on this. I wanted to keep this a little shorter than last time. Last time the stream was like 45 minutes. I believe that was too long. I wanted this time to keep it around the 20-minute mark. But before I go, it looks like we have one or two more questions. I'll cover these couple questions, and then we'll sign off for the day. Show and tell, how do you think the regulators will test the safety of FSD? Just read an article that they wanted to slow the pace of release of FSD to the public. I read an article too where the NHTSB was talking to NHTSA, a sister agency, but it was kind of old news. It's actually news from February that was just now released. And basically, it doesn't look like, based on other recent news, that the NHTSA is really going to get in the way of Tesla's current beta release rollout of full self-driving on city streets, auto steer on city streets, I think as Tesla officially calls it. So I think right now, as long as Tesla continues to call it level 2 autonomous software, and as long as they're able to do it as they do, slowly, and prove out different functions, I think by the time they're ready for a level 3 system, I think they will have regulators' approval because they'll have tons of data and tons of miles to show that it truly is safe enough. So I don't think there's going to be a huge issue for regulators. I think the way Tesla is going about it, very iterative process, slowly adding a feature, testing it, and widening that base. I think it's really smart, and I think that's going to help the confidence of the system for regulators. let's see here. When will FSD be taken to the CAA DMV to pass a driver's exam with the partition between the test taker and the examiner? That's pretty funny. That I don't know. That would be pretty funny. Tiger Woods needs FSD. Yeah, that could have maybe saved him some injuries there. So, well, once again, I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. I do want to, before I officially go, I do want to just take a moment, as I always do at the end of my videos, and I want to thank the Patreon supporters who they financially support me every month. And thank you to these performance supporters and the other supporters listed on the screen. These supporters, they're a part of the Patreon community that I've set up. And if you'd like to find out more about how you can support the work of my channel and join in on conversations, every time I post a video, I put up the slides from that video that you can download and use to share, or use to talk about what we talk about to your friends and family, and you can share those on social media, etc. But it also helps me get equipment and not have to rely so much on YouTube algorithms, etc. So thank you to each one of the Patreon supporters. And if you're curious about that, I do have a link in the description that you can check out and support me. But once again, thank you so much to everyone who came on. We're going to go ahead and log off for now, and look for this live stream to happen quite a few Fridays. It's not going to be necessarily every Friday, but you should see this live stream maybe most Fridays, and we'll try to do it sometime around the end of the afternoon, kind of the end of the workday. So once again, thank you to everyone who came on live, and I appreciate everyone.